Hi, and thank you for joining me for another episode of A Word in Season. Believe it or not, Honeywood campus is 1 year old. Yes, it has already been 1 year since we had our first service. And it's been an amazing journey to witness and experience God's work firsthand. From the first working group meeting to our first Sunday service, to the first communion lunch, first baptism, and a couple of weeks ago, our first family camp as a church. God has been so faithful and true to his promises that he will build his church. And I'm just in awe of his love for his children and the blessings that he's been pouring out to us, not only at Honeywood, but across the city of Perth as well. Believe me, there is a long journey ahead of us still, but because we know who is in charge and whose church it is, I'm excited for what is to come. And as I reflected on all that has happened in the past year, 2 words stood out for me. First and faithful. First and faithful. And it's what I sense God saying to us about first and faithful that I want to share with you today. First things first, the word first. I do believe that God is calling us to keep Jesus at the center of our hearts, for him to be our first love. I love a lot about Honeywood Community Church. The preaching, the worship, the people, the service, the food. Oh my goodness, the food. There's so much to love about the church. But if Jesus is not our first love, and at the center of my life, and at the center of the church's life, it's all for nothing. We must have Jesus as our first love in our hearts. But in the world that we live in, we can quickly have disordered loves in our hearts. Rather than having Jesus, and rather than Jesus being our first love, which everything else flows from, it can be the program, worship, or even friends. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they are bad in and of themselves, but if our love is disordered in our hearts, we can begin to pursue other things over Jesus, and that is disordered love, and that will be wrong. Now, I want to ask you, where does Jesus sit in the order of loves in your heart? And I want to encourage you to take some time this week to see the order of loves in your heart. And to help you with that, I'm going to ask you 3 questions to reflect on and allow Jesus to reveal to you your first love. So here's the question. How do you spend your free time, especially when you are alone? When no one is with you, when no one is watching you? How do you use your free time? What does your bank account say about where you spend your money? Remember, for where our treasure is, that's where our heart will be. And lastly, what do you talk most about your friends? Because that will be on your heart. 3 questions to reflect on. Secondly, the word faithful. God is so faithful to us, but are we faithful to him and his word? To be steadfast in our love for him and trusting him in his promises. Looking back at our first year as a campus, I saw God's mighty hand holding us, like a parent holding onto a child as they take their first steps, with this beaming smile just looking over them, so proud and with great joy. You know, as the child wobbly takes steps, but cheering on to keep taking those steps. And it was like that for us, trusting in him as he holds us steady. And in time, I know we will be running, our eyes and our heart fixed on Jesus, running to him, who will have his arms wide open, ready to embrace us. And what a beautiful picture of what is to come, and is so encouraging. And this is not only for Honeywood, but it is for all of us. He wants us to grow and be living our lives in full of abundance in his strength and as we run to Him, we will be faithful to our first love. What stands at the top of that list for you will be what you will be faithful to. And as we know, Jesus did not consider His equality with God to His advantage, but He humbled Himself. He lowered Himself to come to us. And for the joy that was set before Him, He endured the cross. That was on His heart. That was His first love. And what was this joy? The joy of having us, you and me, in paradise with Him. So He endured the cross, scorning its shame, and now as the risen Lord sits at the right hand of the throne of God. As Jesus has and was and will be faithful to His word, are we faithful in trusting Him that one day we will be with Him to experience the ultimate joy? We only have a foretaste of what is to come, and it is wonderful what we experience each day. How much more will it be with Him in paradise? So here's a question to help us reflect on the word faithful. When was the last time when the gospel of Jesus, the good news of Jesus, truly come alive in your heart? That it captivated your love for Him in appreciation of what He has done on the cross for you. So I want to challenge us this week, not only this week, every week, to reorder our disordered loves, to have Jesus as our first and foremost love, and to have a daily renewal of the good news of Jesus as a reminder of the one who is faithful to us, that we too will live a faithful life for Him. I pray that this will be for us. Until next time, God bless you.